Hello, happy Monday. Welcome into Let's Bet It. Beautiful start to the week. Lauren Jbara here with Jared Smith. Crazy weekend, Jared, between college football, NFL. Just how do you feel after digesting it all?
Well, crazy weekend and a very poor weekend if you bet any favorite of any
Yes.
kind with a minus sign next to their name in the NFL. It was a bloody, a carnage type of weekend for money line parlays, teasers of all those favorites. The Bills obviously being the one that stands out, and I mean, there's always a day like this in the NFL, but I think the last 2 weeks have been like this. Underdogs, I was looking at it this morning, 70% ATS over the last 2 weeks. And road
Wow.
teams are right around 66% ATS over the last 2 weeks. So favorites, home teams, not doing so hot. In college football, compared to the NFL, I thought it was relatively status quo. I think there's some teams that maybe are in the top 10 that aren't as good that we think and probably aren't really contenders. And I think that list of college football contenders is really short, probably 5 or 6 teams really to go to the playoff, and everyone else is kind of on the outside looking in. But just a crazy weekend of football.
I know.
Absolutely
I was
nuts.
looking at, remember when I said, does Purdue have another, little tinge of upset magic in their system? Guess what?
They did.
Michigan State went down. Let's go. Let's
But you
go.
were on Sparty though. You came out. So this
I
is
know,
this
but
is the
honestly,
heart versus the head. Your heart wanted Purdue, but your head said Michigan State. I get it.
it's
I
a
get
really tough battle. It's a really tough
it.
battle
It
going
always
on there.
is.
But hey, it's fine. Michigan is still up there in the rankings, and Michigan
Big
State's
game
gonna
this week, from what I heard.
what?
There's a pretty big game for Michigan this week, from what I heard. They're going to be heading to this place on Saturday, and I don't know if they're going to be able to handle that the pressure of Happy Valley. We'll see.
Under pressure. Yeah, I don't know any of the other words. That's the only 2 words I know to that song. But hey,
It's a
we'll
great
stick with it.
song, but
We're gonna have
we'll
some
have to
fun with
teach you
those
some
bets this
lyrics.
week, Jared. Back and forth, you and I with the Penn State,
I
Michigan.
finally beat you in a swag bet. North Carolina. Can I get a
Finally.
little bragging moment
Yes.
here? It's been
Yes.
2 months and I haven't beat you in a head-to-head bet yet. I'm starting to question my career choice here.
I'm proud of you, Jared. I'm so
Thank
proud of
you.
you. Does
Thank
that
you. It
feel
took an
good?
18-point comeback in the fourth quarter to do it, but I got there with the Tar Heels.
Oh man, it's gonna be a fun show that we got for you today. Monday Night Football picks. We have our friend Jim Monis coming on a little bit because he likes to have a Monday still fun day. We got the Red Hot Chili Proppers, Man Crush Monday or Market Correction Monday, and then we can't end without our best bets of the day. So much to get into for Monday Night Football. So without further ado, let's get it. Let's bet it. Bears at Steelers tonight. Not like a super game, not a game that I'm like super pumped up about, right? But I still see some value in some of these bets. What are you getting in on tonight?
So it does look like the market is favoring Pittsburgh. The line moved off of 5.5. I'm seeing some 7s. I would assume that's where some of the sharp money stepped in on Chicago. Wink, wink.
Mhm.
The total is
Great.
kind of wink, wink. The total is kind of dipping, but I saw a little bit of, it went down to 39, and now I'm seeing it kind of go up to 39.5. I saw 40 on DraftKings this morning. So there's a little indecision in the market on the total. But the under has certainly been the more profitable of the two between these two teams. The under 11, 3, and 1 between these two teams this
Wow.
season. Pittsburgh averaging less than 19 points per game, which is bad. But Chicago said, hold my beer. They're averaging just 15.4 points per game, which is only better than Houston. So these two offenses have not done well. And when you look at I'll be honest, laying points with Pittsburgh tonight, and maybe we'll do a little homage later, but as a favorite, as a home favorite, the Steelers have not covered in their last 7. So
Wow.
this is a spot for the Steelers where you would expect them to play well against Justin Fields, especially defensively. But they just haven't done well in this spot as a home favorite over the last, I don't know how many years it's been since they've had 7 spots as a home favorite. I'm assuming this season and probably last. But Justin Fields, I thought, played better last week. 70% completion percentage. He rushed for 100 yards against the Niners, who, maybe aren't as good defensively as they were in prior years, but I thought that was still a good result. And I'm curious if the Steelers let down at all because they had arguably their biggest win of the year last week against the Browns. So I'm curious what their, emotional status is to go from that game to now a non-divisional, non-conference game against the Bears tonight. I would take 7 with Chicago if you can get it. And if you can get it at 40, I would go under. But I don't feel very strongly about either. They would be probably half unit plays for me.
Guess what? I'm basically betting the exact opposite of what you said. I have the over tonight. And let me tell you why. I think it's just too low to not be tempted by it.
Sure.
I mean, like you mentioned, sure, the Bears are scoring, the second fewest points per game in the NFL. And sure, the Steelers are scoring the seventh fewest points per game in the NFL. But I think that the Steelers are going to put it together this week. I think they're going to see more than 30 points for probably the first time this season. And I think the over is going to hit. The under is 6-1 for Pittsburgh. You were talking about that, and 6-2 for Chicago. But I think the Bears have several key parts of their defense that are out right now, and out, or at least not quite at 100%. And I think that the Steelers should be able to get the offense going in a big way. I think their run game is exceptionally strong, and they could take advantage of the over in this one. So I'm taking the over for Bears, Steelers, and I'm basically fading everyone else that's taking the under. Why not? You know what I mean?
Nothing wrong with that. I like the.
You gotta be You gotta be a blue Fruit Loop and a bowl of Cheerios, Jared. Sometimes, and that's what I'm doing.
Oh
today.
wow! Oh that I want Fruit Loops for breakfast now. After we get off
I know,
the air
it sounds really good.
It does actually. I haven't had. I've been off the cereal game lately. I don't know. I've been drinking a lot more coffee in the mornings, and that deters me from breakfast. But maybe I'll have to have some Fruit Loops after we get off the air. I'll be honest. I would struggle to lay with Pittsburgh tonight.
Really,
I would, and not because they shouldn't. On paper, yes, they should shut down Justin Fields. But based on what I saw yesterday, nothing that should happen happened. Nothing. The only thing that went on script yesterday was Sam Darnold getting just demonized, terrorized by Bill Belichick again. That was the only thing that happened yesterday that I was like, yep, I expected that. Every other result yesterday was the most contrarian, off-script, crazy situation. So I'm just going to throw all the scripts out the window tonight and say that the Bears cover and it's a close game. Let's say, how about this? 20-14 Pittsburgh. Just by the skin of their teeth, the Bears get there with the 7. That's my final score prediction tonight. But I will say this. There is one human on Chicago that I think is worth targeting in the props market. One human. And that's Cole Kmet. I like the tight end going up against the Steelers defense that is giving up almost 50 yards and 10.5 average receptions to tight ends this year. So the average catch is almost 10 yards per game for tight ends against the Steelers defense. Yeah. And Kmet's been pretty consistent. 17 targets over his last 3 weeks, 3 red zone targets last week. His touchdown prop is plus 460. His long reception prop is 14.5. He's hit that in 3 straight weeks. And his overall receiving yards prop is just 26.5. So I'm going to go over on all that. I'll sprinkle on the touchdown as well. And I'll stick with the tight end, situation tonight. Because I think the other side, Pat Freiermuth, my Penn State guy, has been fantastic. And I think he might score tonight too, and he's plus 255. So those are the props I like tonight. I'm going all big boys, all tight ends. Hopefully some red zone targets for these guys.
All big boys. I know. I was looking at our Google sheet, and it's like Cole Kmet, Cole Kmet, Cole Kmet, Cole Kmet.
I'm going all in on Cole.
Kmet tonight, or are you good?
I'm pushing it all in.
I like Najee Harris tonight over 81.5 rushing yards. And this also goes to my over, right? I think you look at the Chicago Bears and they've been absolutely demolished by the run over the last 3 weeks. I think they allowed about 450 yards on 75 carries. That's about 6 yards allowed per carry. I think the Steelers are more than likely going to continue to give Harris a big workload in a game like tonight. And I think that he easily hits over 81 yards, 81.5. I look, he's posted season highs in rush attempts in each of the last 3 weeks. And all 3 weeks were, guess what? Steelers wins, which I'm not the biggest fan of the Steelers this season. I don't love Roethlisberger. I think he's trash, to be honest with you. But I think that they're really gonna run the ball heavy tonight. And I think that Najee Harris is gonna be, I guess, I'm struggling to think of words right now. He's going to profit from.
I like that. Hopefully we profit from it. Of all the picks you have on your sheet.
The other day that I could not think of. Sample size.
Sample size. Yeah.
I have a big Big.
I didn't want to go where some people might have been thinking, but sample size was the correct answer there. Everyone at home, you can put your phones away. You don't have to call.
Yeah.
You don't have to call Lauren.
So, but to my point about Najee Harris, I just think against a limited offense on primetime, I'm counting on him to get at least 25 attempts for this game. And I think that would be enough to get him well over that number against Chicago.
Oh, yeah. If he gets 25 attempts, he's going to have 100 yards rushing. Of all the picks that you have in your little spreadsheet here, that's the one that I tailed you on. I did bet this last night. I got 79.5 on MGM. So I always shop the numbers, obviously, because the prop numbers.
Jared always finds the better numbers than I do.
I have no life, and I just, peruse every book at 2 a.m, try to find these numbers. But I always find it fascinating when you kind of hedge yourself when you put these cards out, because you're on the over, but you're on the under touchdowns, under yards for Claypool, under yards for Robinson. So
that's what I'm winning. I'm winning one bet tonight.
You're definitely going to win something tonight. You're not going to go over.
Quite a few yesterday. Just because of everything that was going on. Same. I mean, I loved the Bengals yesterday.
Me too. So did I.
Okay.
It was one of the worst bets. It was one of my worst picks of the year.
Really?
And I was on the Bills too, as chalky as that sound. We'll get into a little bit with Jim.
Cracking up at Josh Allen picked off by Josh Allen.
Sack, picked off, fumble recovery. That game, if you look back at the annals of NFL history, they might do a case study on that game in 30 years. What the heck? Because the Bills still might be the best team in the NFL, and they lost on the road against the worst defense, failing to score a touchdown. I have no words to describe what went down in that game. Here's what it does. It sets up for a really good spot to fade Jacksonville this week, which I would recommend everyone doing.
Yeah, it's for a team like the Bengals in the locker room, I just wonder, they have to be so frustrated right now as a team after getting blown out basically 2 weeks in a row
to a divisional opponent. And the Jets one, they had the lead late and they blew it, which is tough. This one was never close yesterday against the Browns.
Not even close.
There was not one moment in the game. They were driving. It was the first drive of the game. Burrow did well to get in the red zone, and then bang, picks it. I was watching on Gamecast, and it was first and goal, or I forget what play it was, goal to go for Cincy.
Yeah.
And I saw the touchdown light up, and I was like, oh, the Bengals scored. Great. And then it was a pick six the other way. And I was like, so that's the kind of day it's going to be, huh?
So we're having a Sunday, aren't we now?
Yeah, that's the kind of day it was.
Okay, I want to play one of our favorite games called Red Hot Chili Proppers. Are you ready for it? This is how it works.
I'm born ready for this game.
And I absolutely love it. So I'll give you a prop. You haven't looked at them yet. You have 15 seconds to say whether it's going to go over or under in tonight's game, and a little nugget about why. And you haven't looked at these, right?
No, I'm assuming it's a lot of guys that we've probably already talked about. So I'll probably have some preconceived biases, but I haven't done any research. I haven't looked. I haven't done anything. I've been smart. I haven't cheated.
You're so smart. Okay, you ready to go?
Let's roll.
Big Ben, over under 240 and a half passing yards.
240 is low for Big Ben, but I agree that it's going to be a running game tonight. So I'll go under, and I hope that we're right on Harris, and that's the over.
Justin Fields, over under longest pass, 31 and a half.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Again, I have no idea if he's done that at all in the last few weeks, but he looked okay last week, and I think they're going to make him throw. I think they're going to take away his running lanes. So I'll go over there. I think he has one big play to somebody tonight.
Okay. Darnell Mooney, over under 3.5 total receptions.
Well, I think Mooney's banged up. I saw he was questionable, I think. I think Robinson's the guy tonight, so I'll go under on Mooney.
Pat Freiermuth, over under 33 and a half rushing yards.
This is my rushing yards.
Receiving yards. I can't
rushing
read,
yards under.
I can't read, apparently.
I love Fryer. I love the both. Obviously, I love both tight ends in this game. 33 seems kind of high for a tight end that's not they don't target him at volume wise, but recently he's been a red zone guy. I'll go under yards for Freiermuth because I think he's going to be he'll have one catch for 8 yards and a touchdown tonight, hopefully.
But you do like the anytime touchdown prop, yeah?
Yeah, I think a tight end that's been targeted a lot in the red zone at over 2-1 for a touchdown. I think that's a good price. So yes, I do like the touchdown prop.
All righty, we got Justin Fields, last one, over under 36 and a half rushing yards.
They're gonna control his rushing game tonight. I'm gonna say I think that's if I'm Pittsburgh's defensive coordinator, I design, blitzes to keep him in the pocket and make him throw the ball. So I'll say under.
Okay. I like it. Now, I know, Jared, this is one of your favorite segments every single week. You look forward to it. Man Crush Monday, Market Correction Monday.
The latter, not the
Happy
former.
Monday. Every Monday, we always like to see how the market overreacts. And there was quite a bit of that yesterday because nothing went to script except for one game, basically. So let's take a look at how some of these teams have moved in terms of their odds to win the Super Bowl, to win their division. Let's start with the Rams to win the Super Bowl. They went from plus 650 to plus 750 after losing to the Titans.
Yeah, tough spot for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Tough spot.
I was not expecting this at all yesterday.
Nobody was.
At all.
I mean, am I allowed to get, is this the one? So the Lions didn't play yesterday. So I'm required.
You can throw it on me. It's okay.
It's in my contract that I have to diss the Lions once every show. And since they didn't play yesterday, I'll use this as the time. He looked like Detroit Stafford last night. And I know he had some really good years with the Lions, so I don't want to bash him too much. But what I meant is he looked banged up. He looked like he was a little bit off his spot. I think the Titans defense did a good job moving him off of his spot. And there was some chatter coming in. A couple of really sharp bettors that I trust out in Vegas were kind of chattering this week on how healthy he really was, because he was a little banged up coming in. And I would expect him to be a little more banged up mentally and physically after last night's game, because the Titans really manhandled the Rams up front in that game. And I'd be hesitant to buy in on LA long-term right now, because you're not getting a huge discount off of the line after the one loss last night. Only moved from 650 to 750. And that was always my question coming in on the Rams this year. Is Stafford going to be able to hold up for now a 17-game season? Because he didn't do it a lot of years in Detroit. He always missed time. Yeah. And I was surprised that they kept him in the game so late last night. Fourth quarter, they're down 3 scores, and there's 2 minutes left, and he's still chucking it. That was an interesting decision by Sean McVay, but I'd be hesitant to buy in on the Rams right now, even though you're getting a discount this week.
Really? Interesting. Yeah. And then I look at the other side of that game, the Titans to win the AFC, moving from 850 to 650. I mean, that was a huge win against the Rams, and their defense looked solid in that game.
If the Titans defense plays like they did last night, they are a bona fide Super Bowl contender. They have everything else. They have an offensive line.
Jared.
They have 2 stud receivers. They have a quarterback that's been to the AFC Championship game, that's been to the playoffs 2 years in a row. They've won the division. Like, they've got a head coach that's won Super Bowls as a play. Like, they have all of the intangibles. I think Tennessee might be the toughest, like, physically. Just like, I am going to knock you in the mouth for 60 minutes until you relent. And the question has always been, can their defense hold up? Well, last night it did. I'm not saying it's going to happen, in the future against, good offenses down the line. But if it does, they're a legit Super Bowl contender. And that number's wrong, because the AFC, name the best team in the AFC right now. I mean, Bills, sure, but, I think Titans are right there. Didn't they just beat the Bills? So I think Tennessee is right there, and you're getting a pretty decent number at 10-1 still, or, wherever it is. 11-1, I saw 12-1. And the AFC number 2, plus 650. It's pretty good. I'd be interested in maybe buying a little slice of the Titans this week, maybe.
Oh, just a little sprinkle on the Titans.
A little sprinkle on the Titans.
I like the Titans. I like it. Okay, let's talk about the Cardinals for a second to win the Super Bowl, because they moved to 8-1 on the season. Their Super Bowl odds moved from 11-1 to 10-1, and they're looking really good. No J.J. Watt, no problem for them right now.
Well, here's the thing about the NFC. It's 5 teams in the NFC. It's the 2 teams in the West. It's the Rams and the Cardinals. It's the Packers. It's the Cowboys. It's the Bucs. Outside of those 5, see, the AFC is different. There's like 10 teams in the AFC that, if they get hot at the right time, could figure out a way to get to the Super Bowl. Yeah. In the NFC, it's 5. So the question that I have now, of those 5, which one will get the 1 seed? Because the 1 seed matters so much. Every odds maker we talked to said the team that gets the 1 seed, because it's the only bye, their odds will get just chopped significantly. Mm-hmm. Well, what happened yesterday in the NFC? The Packers lost. The Rams lost. The Cowboys lost. The Bucs lost last week. They were on a bye. So right now, the Cardinals have the inside track for the 1 seed. That makes them a very dangerous team in the odds market, because their odds will shorten significantly if they do clinch that 1 seed. I've been in on Arizona since March. It's been 9 months of praying that they're this good. They are this good. Without Kyler Murray, they are this good. Their coach, their defense is playing at a level that is unmatched right now. What they did in San Francisco yesterday was incredibly impressive. I'm not buying in because I already have a ticket, but if you haven't bought in, I still think you can.
It's the time right now. Now's the time.
Never a better time than the present.
Let's take it to the East Coast. The Patriots to win the AFC East 10-1 to basically 4.5 to 1 odds. It wasn't a perfect game, but they rose to the occasion over the Panthers.
You know, the weakness in Buffalo makes New England an interesting team right now because to go from 10-1 to 4-1, basically to win the division overnight means that there is a shift in where the market thinks New England is. I think Mac Jones is getting better every week. I think the issue for me buying in New England to win it all, to win the whole kit and caboodle, is that lack of an offensive punch. There's no real star receiver or running back. It's all kind of by committee. But their defense is really good. Their coach is as good as it gets. And they're in a division now where the Bills have regressed. So while I'd be hesitant to buy in on the Patriots to win it all or even to win the AFC, to win the division, they get to play the Bills twice over the next, I think, 4-6 weeks or so. It's all in front of them for New England. If they beat the Bills twice, they will probably win the AFC East. So they have control of their, destiny. And at 10-1, obviously it's better than plus 440, but I still would, be willing to at least consider the Pats because their defense is playing at a very high level, and I think Mac Jones is getting better every week.
And the Bengals, I'm so bummed. I'm so bummed because I just love the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow. They sucked yesterday. They absolutely sucked. They got crushed by the Browns, and their odds to win the AFC North rose, or I guess dropped from, growth or dropped?
Lengthened. Got longer.
Thank you.
Longer. Wow, we did that.
We did that at
the exact same time.
3-1 to 6-1 odds. I hate to be a fair weather fan, Jared, but I just don't know how I feel about them anymore after these last 2 weeks.
Let it out.
I don't know.
Let it out. Tell me how you feel.
I don't know how I feel. I think I need to I don't know how I feel. I'm really upset about it. I'm really
Jack's
upset.
note was pretty telling.
Because I placed a couple units on them yesterday, and
a couple units?
It was not a good day.
I had 1 unit on the Bengals spread, and I also put a unit in on their AFC North price last week. It was in our Back to the Futures column. Bad bets both. But I'll say
Jack,
this.
Our producer, 99% of the money was on the Bengals yesterday. So
that should have been
everyone's waking up with a little bit of a hangover this morning, feeling the same way that we're feeling.
Well, we play red flag or deal breaker. I think that qualifies as both. That's a red flag and a deal breaker for me going forward because the public we're at the point now in the NFL season where if over 90% of the action is on one spread, you either lay off or you bet the other side. And I know that sounds super simple and maybe almost too black and white, but the public is wrong about the NFL way more than they're right. So if the public is that confident on an NFL side, based on what we saw yesterday, you have to be extremely hesitant to want to back that side. But back to the Bengals long term, I just think as exciting as they are, I don't think they have the polish to win a division like the AFC Norris. That used to be the NFC Norris, but now I think the AFC North is kind of that division this year where I can make a case for all 4 teams in that division to be in the playoffs, which is very rare. And because of the extra wild card game, it's possible that you get a division winner and then all 3 wild cards from the same division. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's mathematically possible. I would not bet the Bengals to win the division this week. I think they're just a little too, frazzled. They're polished, the turnovers, what they do in the red zone. It's just not there yet. And when you're in a division with Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, which are all playoff teams, I think, or at least competing for the playoffs, you have to be really buttoned up. And I just think they're a little too volatile right now. The ceiling's very high, but the floor is really low.
Absolutely. For more on that, let's bring in our friend Jim Monis, former NFL scout and front office exec, joining us every Monday to give his Monday Night Football picks and help us recap the weekend. Jim, you always bring the energy. So can you just bring us up a little bit because I'm feeling a little down in the dumps after yesterday.
We all need to calm down. It's Monday, still fun day. It's Monday, still fun day. Let's just take a breather. I can tell you this. Right. I don't want to do teases anymore. I don't want any more teasers in my life. I didn't have a bad day yesterday.
Don't tease me, bro.
Don't tease me. I had the Bengals against the Jets, and yesterday I was pumping my Bills. There's no way the Bills won't cover this. Wow. But yes, teasers are gone. Let's get teasers out of our lives. Okay. And that's what they are. They're teases. But I will say, we had a big talk last week about Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you guys that Friday night I was doing a little binge watching of my own. And there's a show, I'm sure you guys watch, Double Shot of Love on MTV with
it's my favorite show.
DJ Pauly D and Vinny from Jersey Shore. They're trying to find their wives, and it's basically a better version of The Bachelor.
Great.
And
sign me up.
And what the point of that show was, don't give up. Keep trying to find that love. And you know what I had to do? I didn't give up on Kirk. And I took him yesterday.
Kirk. I was on him too.
Best
time of the day yesterday.
I waited, and that thing hit 7. I got it at 7.
Absolutely.
And I was really happy about that. Now, that doesn't mean the rest of the day went smoothly.
No.
But
that's the opposite. Crunchy peanut butter yesterday, not smooth peanut butter.
But Double Shot of Love gave me a newfound, hey, keep at it. Keep finding that love.
Oh my God.
I just want to let Lauren digest that. I think we might get one more snort before she resets.
Holding it in.
Well, you guys were also, and the other thing we got to talk about is, and you'll be happy, but as you get older, no such thing as hangovers. Just keep drinking. Wow. It gets better and better. You don't even have to worry about it. Like, get your bloody in the morning.
Strong disagree, but God bless you.
You wake up with a little headache, and then you just start drinking again.
That's the easiest way. Miller High. I always recommend the champagne. The beer I like, Miller High Life, the champagne and beer every morning. Great way to start.
Oh my gosh.
You're off to a great start then today.
I'm fired up today. I'm fired up.
So I'll pose to you some of the questions that I'm going to ask the odds makers about the futures market. I'll start with the top of the market, and we'll start with what we saw last night, which is, recency bias. Do you knock the Rams at all for last night, or are the Titans maybe a little bit tougher of a team than I think some people give credit to?
Completely think if the Titans get this defense coming around like they have recently, they're a real team. They were a real team last year, and that defense was so bad, and we talked about them earlier this year being so bad on defense, but it's the great equalizer in football is a pass rush. We know that. Mm-hmm. And you see what Stafford looks like under a pass rush. You saw with the Bills yesterday, they couldn't protect Josh Allen. So these quarterbacks that are that special, that's the great equalizer for every quarterback is the pass rush.
Yeah. When you look at the game tonight, Jim, who are you on, or are you kind of staying away from it? Because Jared really likes Cole Kmet. I don't know if you've heard.
He's a really good
Kmet props.
No, you know what? I do like it. He's a really good player. He's had some drops this year that have been strange for him, but I do think he's a really good player, and Fields likes him. I know their front office pretty well. Those guys, I used to work with those guys in the Saints. They're high on him, so he will get his chances. I'm going to take the over tonight. I know. Here's why. I know. And I know.
I'm in on the over too, Jim. You and I both.
Let's do it. I'm telling you, I feel good about it because I think we're going to get some Allen Robinson tonight. Finally.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the only thing with the Bears that drives me crazy is he is a star player. I know, Jared. I know you
go to school.
Back. Yeah, I know you go way back with him.
All right.
But I do. Well, I think he's actually from. But Lauren, I think he's actually from. I think he's from Detroit area. I think he is.
Really?
And his best game ever as a collegiate player was against Michigan.
A
3 overtime win. It was a Christian Hackenberg. It was one of the best. I remember watching it. It was insane.
That's another story for another time. There's a lot I want to talk about with Christian Hackenberg.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You. What about me? Are you kidding me? He goes from the Penn State to the Jets. Good Lord. Talk about breaking my heart.
You couldn't get away from him. But I do think the Bears. You're going to see, obviously, I always feel bad for Justin Fields for a game like this tonight because I do like Fields, and he did play his best game last week against San Fran. Yeah. But I just have this feeling that he's going to be – they can't protect – how are they going to protect him tonight is the biggest issue. Are we going to see some turnovers, which could help the over? That's a part of it tonight, and I think we will see some shots down the field from both teams, actually. I think at some point the Steelers have to throw the ball down the field. It's driving me crazy watching them play offense. It's so brutal.
Just
really
not
tough.
for over 2 touchdowns. So
I know. That's right. That's right. 'Cause you're playing
under 1.5.
I think the whole landscape yesterday, and Jim, you've been in the locker rooms, you've talked to the coaches after days like this, like a Josh Allen kind of day where you're supposed to win by 2 touchdowns and you fail to reach the end zone. What's the net? Because to me, the NFL is always about buying low and selling high in the markets. Like what is the buy low point for Buffalo? Because the market didn't move really that much against them yesterday. You still think they're the best team in AFC? Yay? Nay?
Oh yeah. Only because think about this. We're being hard on them right now. Sure. But they gave up 9 points. Their special teams, they're outstanding on special teams.
Yeah.
Punting, kicking, that's a good formula, right? We're talking defense, special teams for the playoffs. Josh Allen's going to be fine. I'm going to tell you what I'm noticing, though. Teams are playing them much like Kansas City right now. They are not letting them throw the ball down the field, and it's driving.
And they don't run the
Allen.
ball at all. Like they're not.
Well, they don't. That's what they're going to have to do right now. You're at that midway point. They're going to go back in. Everything's going to just like us. They're going to have to calm down, take a breath, and get back to what they've been so good on offense the last year and a half. I mean, I don't expect it to keep like this. I do think they're going to get it right.
What about the Cowboys?
I watched that game too on tape last night. Dak Prescott struggled. Almost looked like he rushed back a little bit from that injury.
Yeah.
He was off. He was off yesterday, completely off. So yes, we like Dallas as a team, but Dak's got to be right. Dak has to be healthy.
Looking at yesterday with all of the craziness that went on, what was your one biggest takeaway, I guess, that you noticed that you're carrying into this week?
Definitely pass rush. It just stands out to me. It's pay attention. Those teams that can get after the quarterback, especially in the playoffs. And that's why I don't want to give up on the Bills yet. That defense is real. And the Titans, like we talked about. Now, Baltimore is a team that I still want to see more out of their defense to get sold on them, to get to the – it's because, I mean, they're a nightmare.
That's why I like the Vikings yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, same. They get after the quarterback. They make it hard. They made it hard on Lamar yesterday, but he still does his thing.
What about the Browns, Odell? Did you expect them to bounce back like they did?
So, okay, I didn't want to rub this in because I heard you guys. I did take them yesterday only because of that reason.
Great pick.
No, I don't even want to. I'm not that guy.
It was.
I'm not.
I mean, when everyone's betting one side and you feel strongly about the other side, and that side wins as decisively as they did, you made a great pick. Period. End of story.
But you got to understand that was a personal Baker and that team. There was so much going on there that we don't really understand.
Absolutely.
And once again, they can run the football. Baker was fired up to not have Odell anymore. I can't get over how they don't like each other. Oh, he has not played that well this year. He's been up and down. That was the best he's played. Look, I'm not going to sit there. That first drive, I was like, wow, I made the wrong pick. And then Burrow threw that.
That kind of tilted things. I think if the Bengals even get a field goal there,
agreed.
I think it changes the dynamic of that game. Are you concerned at all still with the Chiefs? I saw this nugget today. They're 14-6 straight up in their last 20. But they're 6-14 against the spread. Does that concern you at all that they still just cannot cover numbers?
I'm not buying into them yet either. That offense they are for now. It'd be different if they were rolling on offense like they used to. They're not rolling like they used to on offense. And we know the defense.
The Packers played well yesterday defensively. I give them a little credit. They should have won that game.
That team needs to find a way right now to do whatever it takes. Get Aaron Rodgers back. That team is loaded. I think that team is loaded. That team is
They
loaded.
are. The defense is better than I think people think.
I agree with you.
Oh, crazy week 9. Was it week 9? We're moving on to week 10.
Double digit week.
It's crazy that we're already here.
Flies by. College football season's like over already. It's like
it's over. I know. It's alwa's strange how that works. It's like
it's over.
College basketball. Let's get into college hoops. You like college hoops, Jim?
I love college hoops and NBA every night. I love it.
Really? Who's your team in college hoops?
Maryland basketball.
Oh God,
I like it.
No, come on. That's my heart. That's how I grew up with.
Basketball. Come on now. Come on now.
Hey, we're in the Big Ten now. I always still get confused. I always put the ACC channel on to watch Maryland. I still get confused.
Oh man, Jim. Any other bets or props that you like for tonight?
I'm going to do, guys, I got to do my first half. And
yeah, you're the first half king of
Well, here's the deal
LPI.
Both teams are negative point differential in the first half this year, and it's only by like a point separating. So I like getting 4 like that in the first half. I could see this being a 3-point game at half. So I like that 4 number in the first half. I do like that.
Love it. Getting points in the first half of a low total game, it's usually a decent strategy.
It's my way of playing blackjack when I'm gambling. I need the quick death or the quick hit, get it over with. So
that's why I like craps. I play for 10 minutes and, if I win, great. If not, I usually lose it all and that's it. I'm done.
And for most people that play craps, they have no clue what the heck is going on.
Oh, come on. It's not that crazy. You can teach craps. I can teach you craps in 30 minutes, I bet.
I like craps. It's a fun.
Oh, you play?
Yes, I do. Mr. Jbara, my dad. I don't know why I just called my dad Mr. Jbara. That was weird.
I like that.
My father is a big craps guy. So
that does not surprise me because I think your father might be my spirit animal. So that's we've got that going for us.
To let him know that you said that.
If and when we all hang out sometime at a casino, I heard Lauren. I heard you mention Ben Roethlisberger being trash. I have a good story.
I may or may not have said that word for word. It's fine.
That's okay.
10 minutes ago.
That's okay. I have a good story for you about him possibly being trash. So that will be for our casino night sometime.
I'm looking forward to it. Jim Monos, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
you always
guys.
bring me energy. We're having a Monday Still Fun Day. All right, Jared, we cannot end without our best bets of the day. And you already mentioned earlier in the show that you don't like my best bet without mentioning that you don't like my best bet. But you know what? It's still my best bet, and I'm betting it.
You're kicking my ass in these best bet standings, so who the hell am I to disagree with you?
All right, who do you got today for your best bet?
So I know there is one human on this call right now, on this little show, that is going to enjoy this best bet. You can't view him right now. He's behind the scenes. He takes pleasure being behind the scenes, and I saw his hat this morning, and I know our producer Jack's really going to like my Rangers money line pick tonight. Yep. So you know how much we've been talking up the Florida Panthers?
So
what are we going to do?
I mean, the Florida Panthers beat Carolina, who were 9-0 on the season, now 9-1.
And now, what do we do the day or the game after Florida beat the undefeated Carolina Hurricanes? Well, we're going to fade them, of course, because that's just the way my contrarian brain works. So the Rangers they had a tough West Coast trip. We were watching that one game earlier this week where they blew that lead, and then Edmonton had a crazy comeback against them. Also, Connor McDavid scored one of the most insane goals I've ever seen over the weekend against the Rangers. But now they go home, and the Rangers have had a very unbalanced schedule so far. They've played 9 road games and just 3 home games. So they're back at the Garden tonight, and they're facing a Panthers team that, again, we talked about. They're the hottest team on the planet. We did sprinkle on Florida to win the Stanley Cup. But the odds in this game are telling me that I think Florida might be a little trappish because Florida's hot, plus 22 goal differential. Rangers are -5. And it's basically a pick 'em this game. I mean, I saw like -110 in some spots. I saw, some spots maybe -120. But the Rangers are basically, you can probably find a +110, +115 out there with the Rangers. But these odds are a lot closer than maybe you would think. And that tells me that there's a little trap, maybe trap spot coming. So 2 things why I want to back that up. One, it's the front end of a back-to-back. The Panthers play at the Devils tomorrow. And usually the back end of the back-to-back is where teams, maybe get a little bit, or bettors maybe get a little bit hesitant. But I think the front end is where you find some value on the other side because teams save up some energy for that second game. No Barkov and no Bobrovsky tonight. It's going to be Spencer Knight in goal, and it'll be Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers. So I think the Rangers have the edge in goal, and I think one of the Panthers' best player is out. And it's also an interesting revenge spot, anti-revenge almost, for Anthony Duclair, who the Rangers traded away a few years ago. Now he comes back to New York tonight. He's been playing really well too. So I like getting plus money at home with the Rangers team that I think is playing better than maybe some people think. And I think Florida might be due for a little regression here. So we're going to fade my Panthers, who I love. But tonight we're going to fade and we're going to take some plus money at home with the Rangers.
Jared, I like that you're on the hockey train.
I am all in on hockey this year.
It makes me so happy. I love it. I love it. I might tell you on this. I also really just think the Florida Panthers are
they're tremendous. I love them.
They're so good. They're so good. Sorry, Jack.
I'm going to watch this game exclusively tonight on my main screen. I'll have Monday Night Football on the secondary screen.
Wow, that's a big deal. If you hit Jared's main screen, you know you've made it.
100%.
100%.
You've been on the main screen before, one of your ACC games.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you. Thanks for supporting. I appreciate that. Okay, so I am taking the Steelers laying 6.5 tonight. And you said the two bets that you don't like are the over and the Steelers laying points. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to bet exactly the opposite of what you tell me to do.
If you bet the opposite of me yesterday, you had a really good day. So that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad strategy.
I think the Steelers offense has, struggled to get it going. It is starting to click a little bit. And I think the thing that is lacking now is their defense creating turnovers. Here enters Justin Fields and the Bears, okay? Fields has started 5 games, thrown 7 interceptions on the year, and he's thrown 5 of them in his last 3 games. I think Chicago's defense isn't, as dominant as it once was, and I think the Steelers' defense catches up to their offense in this one. We see him playing all-around good game. So that's my reasoning. It's not a big full-on, hey, I think this is going to happen. I just have a really good feeling that the Steelers, even though I called Ben Roethlisberger trash, is going to come out today and just have a game. And I think that Justin Fields is going to throw over. He's
listening and he's mad and he's going to play better for you, for your bet.
Yeah, I know his ears are ringing.
You're inspiring him.
We're talking about him right now. You can tell that we're talking about him. But I think that Justin Fields is also going to throw over 2 interceptions. I'm not betting it.
Over? You mean you can throw more than one? Or throw 2 picks? You can get some big money on that, probably.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you can bet that.
I don't know if I'm betting.
Usually it's just a yes or no on the interceptions. I don't even know you can do over 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a gut feeling.
It looks like once this game hit 7, that's where I started to see some buyback on Chicago. So under 7, I think you're still safe. I wouldn't lay the full 7 with Pittsburgh. I think that's a bad bet. But I think 6.5 is slightly lesser of a bad bet.
It's not a good bet, but it's just slightly lesser.
It's not great in my eyes, but it's better than laying 7. Let's just leave it at that.
We're gonna see who's gonna be talking tomorrow, Jared.
Yes,
I have a good feeling it's gonna be me.
If the historical trends of the 2 months plus of this show are any indication, it will definitely be you.
So we're going to end on that note.
Let's end there.
Today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Download the Pickswise app. Jared Smith. I'm Lauren Jbara. Best of luck tonight, guys. Monday Night Football. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.